Welcome to hashtag I have a story. This is an initiative from R.A.E.R Institute of Management Center for Innovation, Entrepreneurship and Incubation. This show is all about entrepreneurs. It gives an insight into the life of an entrepreneur.
We often hear that entrepreneurs are born and not made, which is a big myth. And the entrepreneur for the day, Mr. Roshan Ranganath, has busted this myth. Mr. Roshan Ranganath, an alumni of R.V.I.N. who graduated in the year 2013, has his own venture, Ranganath Alternate Energy Research and Consulting. R.A.E.R.C is a 6-year young venture that concentrates on LED manufacturing, biogas projects, and waste management. Now let's begin with the very first show of hashtag I have a story.
Hello. Today I'm here with Mr. Roshan Ranganath, energy expert at Ranganath Alternate Energy Research and Consulting. Hello, Mr. Roshan. How are you doing?
Well,
Okay. You're an alumni of this R.V. Institute of Management. You graduated in 2013, and it's been 6 years for R.A.E.R.C. So how's the journey? How's the journey been? And what motivated you to start a venture of your own?
well, typically, when you were to look at entrepreneurship in very meager terms, life is very different. It's not usual 9 to 6, 9 to 9 job. You're always running. You're always going around. You tend to look around and say, okay, is the life too fast paced for me? Or is there any sport that is competitive enough for me? And I'm sorry, you are in that very zone. You are in the most competitive sport, and it's called entrepreneurship. Why? Because you're running 24/7, 365.
Sure.
Every single day, every single point of time, you're thinking about your business, how you can maximize your potentials, how you can really go ahead, achieve higher market share, and probably do something to facilitate your clients do better in business and take things forward. So last 6 years have greatly progressed um, when it comes to business. Well, simply because we have seen the best of best times, the bad, worst of worst times, and we've seen it, right? Typically, you have macroeconomic factors that have tried to shake us in business, but well, we'll still say we have looked at it with some fair share of success, right? R.A.E.R.C or Ranganath Alternate Energy Research and Consulting is basically one that concentrates into manufacturing of LED lights.
Okay.
We are into consulting of solar power. We manufacture and consult for biogas power projects,
Okay.
biogas projects altogether, waste management. Um, Beyond which, we are also into certain other forms of business other than R.A.E.R.C. We are into wood trade.
Okay.
We import wood from particular parts of the world, Africa and Panama included. Beyond which, we are into leather furniture.
Okay.
We manufacture leather furniture here in Bangalore. That is again a family venture, not my individual venture.
Okay.
Right? So there are certain ventures that belong to me, certain ventures that indirectly belong to me.
Okay.
But I generally take care of the operation side of it because I feel that's where someone should do something that they excel in.
Yeah, sure.
If you're not good at something, keep it away. Let the right person for the right job handle it. Yeah.
Okay. When you were starting up R.A.E.R.C, you needed some sort of funding.
Right.
So, what were the sources for that?
Very nice. Well, when I typically look at that, reminds me of my time here at RV, when they had a fest-like thing launched, saying that a VC is going to come down, he's going to fund your project and something like that. I was like, okay, it's another shot in the dark. Let's give it a shot and put forth a business plan. Surprise, surprise. I won it. I won gold there. The person looked at me and said, you tell me your quantum of funding and I'm ready to fund.
Nice.
I'm very happy with your business profile, business proposal, and will be happy to fund you. Well, I just went back and thought, wait a minute. is there something that I can do differently? Because this would simply be like, okay, I went to a bank, I took a loan. The loan has X quantum of interest for which I have to pay Y quantum of EMI every single month.
Yeah.
Don't you think there's a great financial burden there? I thought, okay, if you can do one task at say 100 rupees, can you do the same thing as effectively at say 5 rupees or as 1 rupee? Challenge yourself. See, because it is not simply go to place A, perform task B, leave at time C, and switch off. It doesn't work that way. You're constantly evolving. And in this very course of evolution, of time, of experience, because what I am 6 years ago is to what I am 6 years from then is greatly different, right? Uh, Having said this, I looked at multiple options where I can outsource those factors which do not bring in too much revenue and really do those things that bring in a lot of revenue. So I'm able to gain, say, business sustainability. So in this course of time, I basically began with what I had in hand. Yeah, I'm not one of those who would say I started business back in 1970 with 50,000 rupees in hand, because you don't know what is today's value of 50,000 rupees back then.
Yeah.
If you
Time
knew
value of
that,
money.
if you absolutely,
Yeah.
if you knew that, you would not say, oh, only 50,000 rupees. You wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
So if you started with 50,000 rupees today, that's an achievement. You've made sense today,
Yes.
right? So you look at it that way, and I think any single business would really work as long as three things, right? You should have a good intention of business. You should see that your time is most made most use of, and you are worthy of that time. And C, you are in your comfort zone. For example, uh, energy conservation or say cost conservation was my major forte, right? So getting into energy consultation was very easy.
Yes.
Flip side, if you said, why not get into sand mining? That is also profitable, or granite mining. It's out of my comfort zone, right?
Yes.
It's not something that I could think of doing. It doesn't make sense. So deal in your comfort zone. Look at, say, your family business and say, okay, can I forward integrate or backward integrate? And really look at it there. You might have got yourself a winner. To illustrate more on that, since I did mention about furniture, furniture and lighting go to hand in hand, right? I looked at, we have plotted developments that happen all across Bangalore, and they need waste management. So waste management is in place,
Yes.
right? You have a lot of plotted developments happening all across Bangalore. There is a need, there is a requirement. So go ahead, do it. You'll win. Yes, please.
Okay. You told that you would also, apart from R.A.E.R.C, you
Mhm.
also look into the operations of other business as well.
Sure.
So, what is your typical day like?
Okay, so this looks more like work-life balance to me, right? So does an entrepreneur actually have work-life balance? In the view of an entrepreneur, right? A 9 to 6 schedule is like switch on at 9 o'clock, switch off at 6 o'clock. Why? Because work life is over. Now it's beyond work life, right? But in an entrepreneur scale, I'm sorry, there are two cores running, right? There's a work core and there's a life core. So the two of them have to work in great synchrony. So do I spend time with family? Of course. Do I meet my grandparents every day? Of course. Do I meet my friends every day? Yes, of course. But all of us just have 24 hours. How are you doing all of this? Well, over time, I would say in the last 6 years, I've been able to remote manage certain things.
Okay.
So I don't need physical presence in a place for the work to be done, right? So you assign a head for one given thing, and work begins. He gives you reports.
Yes.
You do majority of your things either on mail or on phone. If you require, if you have to be there at that time, you have a client coming down. Like a few days back, I had a client coming from Germany.
Okay.
I had to be there.
Yes.
I had to be there, spend 3 straight days with him. How did life happen? Well, things just fall into place. Yeah? you just tend to get with it. It makes sense overall, simply because at a very single point of time, like, okay, I got to go there, do this, do that, and end of it all,
Falls into
I'm
place.
done by say 9 o'clock at night. So I go hang out with friends for some time and leave. So previously, say during college hours, if college time, if it were to be say 4 hours with friends, today it's maybe half an hour.
Yeah.
But things still fall into place. I still go meet my grandparents every day. Right? So I would typically say have your principles, have your values, and I think you'll really shine.
Okay. So this is the sixth year of R.E.R.C. So throughout the 6 years, was there any time during your journey where you felt it was difficult? I need to quit. Let me find a job. Did you feel that?
Well, let me be honest with you. That's come by multiple times, not once, multiple times. Is it like, okay, oh, business is bad, it's going down, maturity falling into place, there is demonetization happened, multiple issues that came by our way. And you must understand, when you are competing against a country, like, say, we in the electrical industry are competing against China, right? A single solder in India will cost you 40 paise. The same single solder in China will cost you 8 paise.
Okay.
Difference is huge.
Yeah, difference is huge.
Right? So how are you going to compete against that country? What are you going to make different that they're not going to offer you? That's where you come into place. It's that value that you are going to create to society that's going to make a change. For example, we started off by manufacturing simple bulbs and tubes.
Okay.
Now, does it really make sense today? It doesn't. Simply because you have bulbs available for 80 rupees and tubes available for 170 rupees. So, what is it that is there for you? What different are you doing?
Yes.
So, we stopped doing that and got into, say, manufacturing submarine lights,
Okay.
right? Underwater lights, say for swimming pools or underground tanks,
Yes.
right? We make submarine lights, we make boat lights, we make lights for mining purposes, uh, a whole lot specialized lights. It's not your everyday tube lights and bulbs that you look around where someone would say, you put on a switch, oh my god, the light is glowing and I'm having a good day. No, well, lights are very specific, application specific, area specific, right? It depends on everything to make a good lighting layout. One thing goes wrong, you're gone,
Yes.
right? So that's the very fact of that. Difficulties have been many, indeed, of course. Things don't come easy and they are not served in a plate to say, okay, these are your tasks for the day, finish them and you can leave. No, I'm sorry. Something like that does not happen. You do not have anything served to your plate. You don't start with a plate firstly.
Yeah, right.
You start with your hand.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, can I get some business? And then over time you have acquired the plate and show them the multiple sides of the plate saying that we do all of these, right? And then people get to you and say, okay, fine, I will approach you. So today, of course, when we began, um, we would approach people. But today, fortunately, people approach us. So that's a pretty good feeling, and that surely says that, okay, we're going the right way.
All right. Um, so you told like you had to shift from what tube lights and bulbs to underwater lights and in a totally different lighting thing. So you might have had competitors and you will have competitors. So what do you do to go toe to toe with them?
Well, typically it's like this. Let me give you an example from another industry, right? So we are here in India. Let me talk about the automotive sector, automobile sector. Why is it that you wish to pay, say, 40 lakh rupees for a Fortuner, while you can get something else at, say, 10, 15 lakh rupees less? They are in the same competition.
Yes.
They look the same. They nearly function the same. You still go ahead and say, no, I'll go ahead buy a Toyota Fortuner for 40 lakh rupees. Why do you say that?
The brand
Correct?
and its quality.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, one of the things is like maybe my friends and colleagues have bought it and they've given a good opinion about
There
it.
you go. So you have got a reference,
Yes.
right? You've got a feedback. You have got something straight from someone's mouth.
Yes.
So that's verbal, right?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth,
Yes.
right? So you've heard about it. So hence you're like, okay, you go ahead, you pick it up, and you stay happy ever after. So that's a similar case here too.
Okay.
So you're not going to go around put a massive billboard like you used to earlier, and say, "Hello, I'm here, open for business." Well, you're going to start small, do 100 square feet, 200 square feet, go ahead, and then by some time you'll be reaching 1 million square feet. You stay the way you are. So there is always a point of approach,
Okay.
right? Ideally, train and test for quality, and I think it should really fall in place.
Okay. All right. Um, well, so there is this thought among many of us when we are studying. Many of the lecturers say follow your passion, but there is also this thing that we need to get a stable job. So what do you say? Whether we need to follow a passion or go for a job?
See, like I somewhat said previously, your passion is like your comfort zone,
Yes.
but your passion can never be your business. Your passion can be your hobby.
Yes.
It can never be your business. Why? Because in certain times it can be viable, in certain times it cannot. Business is all about three things. It should be viable, it should be feasible, and it should be doable.
Yes.
If you don't have any of these three, you're not getting anywhere, right? It's like saying I want to set up a car manufacturing unit tomorrow. Tomorrow is when I want to do it.
Yeah.
I have the designated time, but that requires 500 odd crore rupees.
Yeah.
Do you have it? Is the question. Now you don't have it. Now by the time you approach a bank or any financial institution and you get out from there with that quantum of money in your hand that is based on your eligibility, you would have spent 45 days.
Right.
So are you really making sense by saying I want to start it tomorrow? Now if you do not have that capacity, or I would say that financial capacity in you to do something, don't do it. Right? Because life is really simple. I can stand up and walk. I will stand up and walk. I'll stand up and sprint. Oh, look at my body. I won't be able to sprint.
Okay.
So I will not sprint.
Okay. So again, comfort zone.
Right? No, more than comfort, it's all about what you can do. For example, you have 2.5 lakh rupees to invest today. All you have is 2.5 lakh rupees to invest.
Yeah.
You work within 2.5 lakh rupees.
Okay.
Or if you have the ability to borrow, go ahead and borrow as long as the quantum of EMI you're paying every month is to the quantum of business that you're doing, is to the quantum of profit that you're seeing, is in perfect synchrony. If this is not in place, don't do it. If you are going to take a loan at the rate of, say, 18% per annum and not get profits of anything higher than 4% per annum, you're not getting anywhere.
Yes. True.
You need to strike a balance between something and say it's going to make sense here, and things will fall in place. I fondly remember one of my batchmates. I don't know if it was a degree or an MBA. He followed his family business. He followed part of his passion. Today, he's one of the largest exporters of flour, a particular kind of flour from Karnataka. Well, all he saw to it was, I have 2 lakh rupees today. That's how much I have been saving over the last couple of years. I'm willing to risk it. You should have that appetite for risk. You put that quantum of risk factor in place and you begin. So either it goes up or it goes down. You should be in that ability to take care of that risk.
Yes.
If not, you're losing out.
Good.
sustain your comfort zone, stay within your limits. Don't, yeah, it's good to look at the stars and try to reach the sky, but if the sky is too far, at least climb onto the mountain and then look at it. Right?
Yes.
So create that kind of ability within you before you get into something.
Okay. Actually, I wanted to ask one piece of advice for budding entrepreneurs, but you already told like stay in your limit, stay in the comfort zone. So, anything else you would like to add to budding entrepreneurs? You know, like there are many who want to start their own venture. Like your one piece of advice to them.
Well, look at business not from an individual perspective, look at it from a country perspective. Look at it in such a way that you do not have dumping from any country which you are trying to wade against. It's like the river is flowing. Dumping is happening from a country to your country, but you are swimming against the wave. It will not happen. The country is too big, you are too small. Look at a business that is sustainable, that can sustain the test of time. For example, you get into manufacturing of paper. Paper, as long as students will continue to use paper, lawyers will continue to use paper, and paper is being used in any kind of printing means paper is going to be used. So if you're going to get into manufacturing of paper, it can just work. But then again, say a 50 ton per day paper manufacturing paper mill will cost you about 50 crore rupees. Now the question is, do you have that 50 crore rupees, or can you raise that 50 crore rupees where your cost of capital is very low? Because the quantum of margin that you're making is not too big. Is all of this really making sense to you? Go ahead, nothing like it. So very similar ventures like that. Look at something sustainable.
So,
Very well.
yeah, that's it. It was wonderful, very wonderful talking to you. You gave a lot of good insights. So it was good talking to you, Mr. Roshan.
Pleasure.
Thank you.